Thank you. Good morning and welcome everyone to our regular council meeting of April 27th, 2016. All members of council are present this morning. I remind everybody at today's meeting, please ensure all your cell phones and other electronic devices that they're turned off or placed in the non-audible mode during the meeting. Council members are reminded to please refrain from sending texts and emails during the meeting. Thank you. Members of council, there are a few agenda changes identified on the package in front of you. I'm going to ask the Deputy Clerk to review the changes for today's agenda since its publication last Friday.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In the package on your desk, you have two bylaws, a mention of two bylaws, 77-2016, which is amending the sign bylaw. This arose at the Planning and Infrastructure Services Committee meeting on Monday. Second bylaw from the same meeting is to amend the Delegation of Authority bylaw. Both those bylaws require 2/3 majority members to be added to the agenda. There's some information that has been attached to the package. One is the minutes from last Monday's Planning and Infrastructure Services Committee. That is listed on your agenda as item 10.5. There is some additional business. We have a revised announcement for Emergency Management Month. That is item 5.2. That is in your package. The revised presentation is attached. And for item 5.3 for the Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony, we have a copy of the poster attached, and we will project that as well. Madam Chair, Madam Mayor, that is the list of changes for today's council meeting at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Clerk. I think there is another addition I would like to add to the agenda. We have Mr. Jeremy Williams, the Mayor of Orangeville, as a potential announcement at 5.4. And we have a student from Clairville Public Schools, Savannah Miller, as item 5.5. Any other additions or changes? Mr. Clerk, do you have a motion? So we have moved by Councillor Willen, seconded by Councillor Bowman, that the agenda for the regular council meeting be approved as amended. All those in favor? All those opposed? That's carried. Do any members have a declaration of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act for any matter to be considered on today's agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk. Sorry, Mr. Gibson? Councillor Gibson?
Madam Mayor, I believe there's an in-camera session portion for transit, Union Transit, that I have a conflict of interest on because my son works for transit, so I'll declare a conflict. Do I declare that now at this time or in camera? Okay.
And Mr. Clerk, I also have a conflict. I have a son who's an employee of the transit for the in-camera. Anybody else? Okay. Item 4 is our consent agenda. The items listed with an asterisk on the agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial. The consent motion is to adopt these matters on today's agenda without the need for a separate discussion on each item unless a member requests a separate discussion. There are 5 items listed for the consent motion today. Does any member wish to add or remove from the consent motion any item on the agenda? Seeing none, I have a motion moved by Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Spovieri, which approves the consent agenda. All those in favor? All those opposed? That's carried. I skipped a part of our agenda, so I missed 3.1, which is the council agenda minute. That's item 3, moved by Councillor Medeiros, seconded by Councillor Fortini, that the minutes of the regular City Council meeting of April 13th to the council meeting of April 27th be approved as printed and circulated. All those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried. We now move on to the announcements section of our agenda. Our first announcement is regarding the cycling events that take place this month. Kevin Montgomery, Co-Chair, Cycling Advisory Committee, is here to make this announcement. Councillor Bowman is the council sponsor for this announcement. Councillor Bowman, did you want to speak now? After? Welcome, Mr. Montgomery.
Thank you very much, members of council. That's fine. Okay. So, yes, I understand you have a copy of this slide deck before you, which is great because I'm not going to spend a lot of time on any given slide. So I'll get right to it. I'm here to announce rides as part of the upcoming Bike Month coming up in June. And it's going to be kicked off on the last Monday of May, which is May the 30th, with Bike to Work Day. Several partners from within the city and across the region are participating in this event. We have 6 starting locations from across Brampton that are all going to converge into Garden Square with a business focus event in Garden Square that day. Throughout the month of June, there's going to be several events to celebrate Bike Month, including Bike to School Week, the Bramley Cycle Fest on June the 4th, the Brampton Bike Fest, and the Manitou Bike Parade on June 25th. And of course, June the 18th, we'll be having our Bike the Creek event, which is Brampton's signature cycling event. This is the 3rd year that this has been held. We're expecting as many as 600 riders this year, compared to about 400 riders from 12-15. So we're seeing a lot of growth in this event. There's going to be 4 routes of different challenges and comfort levels to participate in. And again, departments from all over the city are helping out with this event, which has been great. There we go. Toronto and Region Conservation Authority is also assisting with organizing the event, as well as the town of Caledon, and of course, members of Bike Brampton. Police, fire, and paramedic will be on site. And this is a great opportunity for cycle tourism in Brampton. We found there was a lot of positive response at the recent Toronto Bike Show to this event, so we're anticipating some pretty steady growth in numbers for tourism in that regard as well. There's going to be an opportunity for kids to learn some basic cycling skills with the bike rodeo. And Region of Peel is offering a catered lunch for registered participants that day also. Finally, we're going to have some prize draws from partner and sponsor donations and corporate donations. And we welcome your support and attendance. And if you have any questions, of course, you can reach out to any member of Bike Brampton, your Cycling Advisory Committee. We're on Twitter and Facebook as well. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Bowman.
Thank you very much, Deputy. You still have 3 minutes.
No, I think it was a 2-minute, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I would have said you have some extra time. But the Cycling Advisory Committee, since it's become a committee of council now, has done some extraordinary work, and I compliment them on everything they've been doing. And to plan the number of events like this and have them brought before council for our support is just tremendous. So I congratulate you guys on what you've done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here. Councillor Bowman, would you like to move receipt of the delegation? Our second announcement is from Alain Normand regarding Emergency Management Month, something we always look forward to. We also have Report 8.6 that we can bring forward now if Council so wishes. Councillor Gibson is the Council sponsor for this announcement. Councillor Gibson, do you wish to speak now or afterwards?
I'm very pleased to have Elaine here to make this announcement for next month's Emergency Management Month. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, members of council. Always happy to be here. This is not only it's Emergency Management Month, but it's an exciting event for us because this is actually our 15th anniversary of existence. The Emergency Management Office was created 15 years ago this year. Just a bit of a reminder, back in 2001, some of the things we did, we had, that year was filled with activities to really launch everything we've been doing. The emergency plan was approved early in the year, then we had training, we had exercise, and then we had, in May, we had the first Emergency Preparedness Week campaign. As you can see here, we've got somebody very important to us that was cutting the ribbon for that launch. A
blast from the past.
There we go, absolutely. So this was the event, May 7 to 12, 2001. That was really the launch. And then in June, it was confirmed as a section within the Community Services Department at the time. The interesting thing is that very soon after we were called to action because in September that same year, everybody remembers 9/11, and we were asked to take some action in that event. So over the 15 years, we've been involved in many incidents. Some fairly serious that had local implications, so you may remember all the white powder, anthrax. We never had anthrax, but they were considered as if there was a risk of anthrax. We had the William Osler evacuation, 2003 major blackout, and then many epidemics or health-related events, SARS, H1N1, West Nile virus, and of course the 2013 ice storm, which was certainly a memorable event, not really wanted, but we've also been involved in supporting our neighbors in many occasions. So the Air France crash, we were there to support Mississauga in particular. We did assist Vaughan during their tornado back in 2010. So we've been around to help a lot of our neighbors. We've also had situations where we've had actually events outside of the area, like 9/11, but also the Sendai, Japan tsunami, where we actually assisted Brampton residents that had families or friends in those areas and trying to reconnect with them. So through our contacts with various agencies, Red Cross and others, we're able to do this and to help reunite people and find out about loved ones and friends. We've been deployed in many situations. We've had staff. We have a picture here of Mr. Dale Pine, by the way, who has been a very strong supporter over the years. He was actually one of the people that was sent to Louisiana and Mississippi during the Katrina hurricane event. So we have some very expert staff that we regularly send out to help. We went to Calgary and we helped a few years ago during the Calendar windstorm. And then we've got local incidents that are maybe not considered as disasters or emergency, but are still significant. So with the Ardglen fire, William Osler, the construction site, the fire we had, Darras Court just before Christmas this year, and just more recently the George Street flood. So we're there to support our citizens and support in various ways and work with the emergency response agencies to make sure that our residents are safe and out of the cold in particular. That's one of our main roles. And we've been involved in a number of repatriation and refugee efforts, Lebanon, Haiti, and we're still into the Syrian refugee and newcomer situation right now. We're still working on that with Region Appeal United Way. So very active. We've also we've been praised, and Brampton is recognized as a leader in emergency management across the province and across the country because we've got a lot of innovative programs. We've created the SERVE program, which is one of a kind. There's really very few other communities that are following our lead, but the SERVE program, engaging our community, engaging our residents is a very important program for us. We developed the emergency board games that we use when we go to schools. We have the emergency container program. We were the first municipality to implement a business continuity program. This was not something that was required in legislation, but we started it, and now most municipalities, at least in Ontario, are following suit, and they're using our model, our template. And in 2007, we were recognized as the international safe community. We had this designation from the World Health Organization. It was renewed in 2012. We're going to have to look into 2017 in order to maintain that designation. Project Lighthouse, I'll be coming back to council in a few weeks, maybe a couple of months, to talk more about this. But this is really basically engaging our faith-based agencies in Brampton in order to have them help us doing a large scale, particularly to take care of some of the vulnerable population. So those are all innovative programs that you don't find in most municipalities, but we've taken the lead on it. I'm not going to go through that whole list, but this is just to give you a glimpse of the amount of work, the kind of work that we do in the emergency management side of things in Brampton. We're very active, and I've got a very strong team that's working with me. You may be aware of some of these people. So Rick Bernard is my assistant and doing the business continuity, and is our administrative assistant. Amanda is our emergency planning advisor, and Catherine is our corporate preparedness, looking mainly after exercise and training. But I'd like to add, which is not on the picture because we didn't have his uniform, we didn't have time to take a team picture with him yet, but I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the newest member of our team. Roland Daly is our community preparedness advisor, and we'll be looking at all the community engagement and the public education programs going forward. He's been with us since mid-January, and we're really proud to have him. Has a lot of experience, as a firefighter back in his native Jamaica to start with, but he's been trained in New York, and he has a master's degree from York University in emergency management and some experience with the Red Cross. So we're very happy to have Roland on board, and we certainly want to welcome him. Next time we'll have a picture, we'll make sure he's on there as well. So what we want to announce for the Emergency Management Month is that we've got all sorts of activities throughout the month. The first week is the Emergency Preparedness Week in Canada every year. The third week is International Business Continuity Awareness Week, and we've got activities. We're going to be going out to businesses, we're going to schools, we're going to all sorts of groups, and we have all sorts of events. But there's a few events that I've highlighted that I'd like to point out because I'd like to invite council to join us if they can, if you're available on some of those events. So on May 7th, we've got sort of the launch of the month at Shoppers World. We're going to be there all day to highlight the work of emergency management and emergency preparedness. We're going to have some of our partners, police, fire, EMS are going to be there, Red Cross, Salvation Army. So we're having a kiosk inside and some of the trucks outside to attract some of the people. So the May 7th, Saturday, May 7th is the launch. We've got two events which are open houses where we're going to set up shelters in our community centers just as if we were in a shelter situation to give the public an opportunity to see what is a shelter, how is it set up, to come and test the cots to see how comfortable they are or not comfortable. And then, so that's going to be May 16th at Earnscliffe and May 28th at South Fletcher. And the last event where we'd like to see council join us is during the noontime. We're going to have on Tuesday, May 24, right here in front of City Hall on Wellington Street. We're going to have a demonstration by some of our partners and to showcase really how we're all working together in these major events and how all the agencies come together in those kinds of situations. Throughout the month, you're going to be seeing Twitter feeds. We have our communication have developed some little videos, video feeds, little short clips, and we're going to see that on YouTube and on our website to be able to promote and try to raise the awareness about being prepared for emergencies. Because really, we're doing a lot for this at the city, but it also we need the citizens to participate in that and to do their own personal preparedness. So in closing, I want to really thank the council, mayor and council, because we wouldn't be here, it wouldn't be 15 years, and we wouldn't have been able to do all of that, of the work that we've been able to do if it hadn't been for the support of council, and we've had it through the years, and we're really grateful for having this, and being able to be recognized as a leader in emergency management all around the country. Thank you very much, and we have a delegation. We've asked that if council approves it, to have emergency management, the month of May designated as Emergency Management Month in Brampton.
Mr. Gibson.
Thank you, and I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. Dwayne's pretty modest when he talks about emergency management, but as you know, Madam Mayor, and Councillor Pleshy knows, when we do our emergency management preparedness exercises, it brings together all the different departments. So all the city comes together to be prepared. This team has done a tremendous job of doing that. So when something happens, whether it's in Brampton or somewhere else where we go to help, it's all the city doing that. It's the staff that are being prepared. And when I took part in those exercises, it really put a lump in my throat when I realized just how much all our staff are involved in that, Aileen. So we've done a very good job of that. And further to that, we maybe sometime you can come back and talk about how other municipalities across Canada and North America are looking at us. We are the leader in this. We have been from the beginning, and we're getting a lot of municipalities coming to see and talking to Elaine. I know Elaine goes and talks and goes to other municipalities to tell them what we're doing. This is probably one of the best things that we do, quite frankly. And we've been pretty lucky. Other than the ice storm, we haven't had too much of a major catastrophe that where people, a lot of people have fatalities and that, but we are prepared for it if it ever happens. So that's a really good news story for us all. Thank you.
Thank you.
I couldn't have said it better. Elaine, you've helped put us on the map, so thank you very much to you and your team. Welcome. We're glad you're here, and I think we're very pleased with the work that you've done to raise the bar and put us on the map from an emergency perspective. So thank you, and I have a motion moved by Councillor Gibson, seconded by Councillor Bowman, that the report for Alain Normand regards to the Emergency Management Month and the Brampton Emergency Management Office 15th anniversary, happy anniversary, and that the month of May be named Emergency Management Month in Brampton. All those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our third announcement is from Dean McLeod, the Chair of the Sports Hall of Fame Committee, regarding the upcoming induction ceremony. Councillor Willens is the council sponsor for this announcement. Councillor Willens, do you want to speak now, or okay?
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Dean, just because Kevin Montgomery was quick in his presentation, doesn't give you the extra 2 minutes, okay?
I don't think you're allowed to heckle the delegations, but I see that it's...
I'll get them later, Madam Mayor.
I know you will.
First of all, Madam Mayor and councillors, I want to thank you once again for giving us the opportunity to appear here to announce our upcoming induction ceremony. And before I get into that, I'd like to congratulate, on behalf of the Hall of Fame, our previous 2 delegations and wish them the very best in their endeavors going forward. This year is our 36th annual induction ceremony, and as you can see, it's on May 10th at the Rose Theatre. The handout that you've been given isn't on the board, but this year we have 4 inductees. 2 as builders, 2 as athletes. Speaking on the builders, we have 2 exceptionally worthy candidates that have been elected. They've given a lifetime of dedication to the development of the youth of our city. First one, Pat Nichols, in female hockey. She's an icon. You'll hear about her at about all of them at the induction ceremony. I won't go into any further on that. Richard MacArthur, high school volleyball coach and a municipal volleyball coach. Again, has spent a lifetime with the youth and has prepared a number of his athletes to NCAA scholarships and our own Canadian university volleyball teams. Our athletes are 2 world-renowned athletes. Paul Stalteri, a Bramptonian, learned his soccer in public school in Brampton, youth soccer in Brampton, went on to play in the Premier League in England and the Bundesliga in Germany, and I understand that they are the 2 Premier Leagues in soccer, equivalent to the National Hockey League. The final inductee, Mr. Carlton Chambers, was a member of the gold medal winning 4x100 relay in the Olympics in Atlanta in 1996, and he will be joining the other 3 on May the 10th to receive officially their induction into the Hall of Fame. Now, speaking on the Hall of Fame, it's over at the Rose Theatre, and Madam Mayor, I personally delivered you an invite, and we truly hope that yourself and all the councillors, there's a ticket for each one of you there. The 2 colleagues I have with me, Mario Russo and Sue Pamico from Sport Brampton, we've spent a lot of time to prepare for this. The City of Brampton generously funds the Brampton Sports Hall of Fame. We just want to invite you out to let you see that your money is being well spent. I know a number of you have been there before, but it would make my heart feel great and my colleagues to see all the councillors out. So on behalf of the Hall of Fame, my complete committee of 13 citizens, 3 councillors, and 2 city staff, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here once again, and truly hope that you will join us on the 10th at the Rose Theatre to welcome 4 more inductees. And just speaking on the inductees a little further, as an inductee myself, when I got my letter of notification, it came in the mail, very, very unpersonal. The last couple of years, Sup and I and Mario have hand-delivered each of the letters of induction to the athletes, to the builders, and it was a surprise. We had it set up. We went to York University for Carlton. He's coaching. Paul Stalteri, we went out to Woodbridge where he's coaching the little ones. And the 2 builders, we went to each of their one home and Pat's office down in Mississauga with the Ontario Women's Hockey Association. And just to see the surprise and the pride in their eyes makes us know that we're doing the right thing there, that the hand delivering is a lot better than the informal telephone call and receiving your notice in the mail. So in closing, I want to thank you for the time here once again, and 4 minutes and 23 seconds, Doug. Thanks for the extra 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Councillor Williams, did you want to say anything else?
Just a few.
Yep.
No, I'd like to thank you, Dean, for your leadership on the Sports Hall of Fame the last number of years. You've got a great committee. You've worked very hard to bring this event to the next level. Just showing with the keynote speakers and the MCs you've had in the past, you've done a great job of keeping it. Your committee's fantastic. So just keep up the good work, and you'll see us there.
Thanks, Doug. And just one thing that I wanted, I was remiss, but our keynote speaker is Mr. Darren Dutishan, TSN celebrity. So last year we had Rod Black, and everybody that was there enjoyed him, and we'll enjoy Darren. Thank you very much, folks. Thanks.
Hold on. I got one more speaker. Councillor Medeiros.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you, Mr. McLeod, for all the tremendous work. I will say before I ask my question, as a first graduating class at St. Augustine and a former Brampton youth soccer player, when I see people like Paul Salteri and the year before Jason Bent, so they all have that in common, going to play Brampton soccer, went to St. Augustine, so it was great. Are the soccer organizations, because I know last year the attendance, I think all soccer organizations didn't participate or they didn't attend. Has there been, focus on reaching out to ensure that they do attend? Because Paul Salteri, and I think you made that point where you can't underestimate the type of career he had. He played for a club like Tottenham, and he played for, these are real internationally known clubs. They're huge. Mm-hmm. So I just hope that, he really gets the support and the soccer clubs really come out from especially for, kids can see what type of, career he's to be able to develop. So
Can I ask Mario to speak on that?
Sure, yes.
Mario, if you would, please.
Yeah, by all means. Councillors, Madam Mayor, we have reached out to the soccer community. In particular, Brampton Youth has already committed to 14, 15 attendees. Peel Halton Club has also committed. We've also reached out to OSA and CSA and all the other organizations, and there's huge support. Paul Salteri's family and friends have committed to over 40 to 50 tickets themselves.
Fantastic.
So it's going to be a great event, and that's just one inductee. So we're looking forward to having the same recognition and pay homage to those inductees and all four of them. So that's something that we're looking forward to.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And just one thing further. Reaching out, we have had contact with Donovan Bailey, actually the 100-yard champion at those Olympics, and we're very confident that he and the remaining members of the relay team will be in attendance. So we're keeping our fingers crossed there. It's a busy time for everybody, but when one of theirs is being inducted, they're going to make every effort to join us. So.
Exciting times. Thank you.
Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you very much. Our next announcement is Mr. Jeremy Williams, the Mayor of Orangeville, regarding the recent ice storm that happened. Welcome, Mayor Williams.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I want to bring greetings from the town of Orangeville to members of council and to yourself, Mayor Jeffries. I can't thank you enough on behalf of the town of Orangeville for all you've done. Under your leadership, Your Worship, and council's leadership, you thought it fit to send us some help, a lifeline, if you will. We had the worst ice storm in our history. We had trees that were hundreds of years old. Our town has beautiful avenues of trees, and quite frankly, many of them have just been destroyed, devastated. The night of the emergency, and an earlier delegate spoke about emergency preparedness, and my goodness, I have a special card in my wallet here with contacts for all the emergency people. Emergency preparedness is extremely important. We were within minutes of declaring an emergency for several hours the night of the ice storm. We had hydro lines all over the place. We ended up doubling up our emergency. We do our own 911. We ended up doubling the number of dispatch call centers to respond to it. At one point, we were 150 calls behind on our 911 service. Keep it in perspective, we're a town of 30,000 people. So we truly were devastated. Streets were blocked, and you guys are good neighbors, and I'm so appreciative of the fact that you were able to bring one of your parks crews who are here, and I've met with all of them before and thanked them personally. We are still cleaning up from the storm. There's still extensive damage. I don't know how long we're going to be, but thank you to the town of Brampton and the Parks Department for being good neighbors. And really, I know in 2013, other towns came to your rescue, and know that you have got good friends in Orangeville, and we would always do what we could to help you. And I did give you all coffee mugs, and I understand you've got a new policy now where you have to register things, so I apologize for giving you extra paperwork. But it's nice to see that you do that. Anyway, so on behalf of the town of Orangeville, I do thank you very, very much. Thank you.
So Mayor Williams, I'd like to be able to take the credit, but I think our staff showed the initiative, and I would like to thank them for making us proud and for stepping in when our neighbor was in trouble. And I wonder if we could maybe take a picture with them and you to demonstrate how proud we are of you.
I would love that.
Thank you. Come on down, guys.
How about a round of applause?
Yes.
Is that one gone to sleep? No. Put up as high as you can. I want to make sure you get members of council. Yeah, there you go.
Thanks for the mic.
Thank you.
Didn't get us in trouble.
We're
good. We're good. Thank you.
Thanks again. Nice to meet you. Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Good to see you again. Good to see everyone in town.
So, Jean, or could somebody on staff perhaps introduce all our heroes? Is that possible?
I'd like to introduce Brandon Batchelor,
Okay.
Wade Spears, Ben Coella, Sarah Muir, and Blair Meisner. They're the heroes there.
Wonderful. Thank you. I was thinking you were going to bring a chainsaw, but I'm kind of glad you did. Thank you very much. So the next addition to our agenda is Savannah Miller. She's a young lady that is from Clairville Public School. She's doing a civics project on becoming a future mayor. So she came for a visit this morning. She's too small to stand in front of the podium, so she's going to come up here and make a small delegation, and I have a certificate for her. But I wanted council to know that she is from Pat and Councillor Miles and Councillor Fortini's ward. So come stand beside me. So if you talk, it'll end up in that microphone, and everybody will see you. Okay? So tell me why you came to see me today.
Because I want to be a mayor when I grow up.
Okay. So why don't you do that? If she was the mayor of Brampton, this is what she would do.
Hi, my name is Savannah, and one of the things I am going to do when I am mayor is make sure people of all colors have the same, are treated equally by making sure everyone has the same opportunities for jobs in Brampton.
Savannah, I have a certificate for you, and you can take it back to school. Hopefully you get a good mark, because we want to be part of your good mark. And it says to Savannah Miller of Clairville Public School. She's in grade 2. How many of you in grade 2 were as brave as she is to do this? On behalf of the members of council for the Corporation of the City of Brampton, I wish to extend our sincere thanks for visiting Brampton City Council meeting and for your interest in local politics. We wish you all the best in your goal of one day becoming mayor, or maybe a councillor. You got 2 here. Maybe they'd like to take a picture with you. Would you like to do that? Okay. Come up and be in the picture. Savannah, do you want your notes? See if we have more questions. So that was fun. And I would like to just recognize MP Ruby Sahota is here visiting. She's our MP, new MP from Brampton North. Welcome. I don't think you're bringing any money today, right? But we're glad you're here. Welcome. Our next item is 8.1. This is a verbal update on our service review and staff rationalization. And can I ask Acting CAO Simmons to provide that update?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good morning. I just wanted to provide Council with a brief verbal update on the service review and staff rationalization initiative that we brought to Council back in September of last year. You'll recall this is the initiative in which we are looking at all of the services that the city provides for high value and effectiveness. We got underway right away with that plan, which consists of 4 phases and takes us into 2016. The first phase was largely an information gathering component in which we were putting together a list of materials associated with what it is that we do here, business plans and so forth, as well as documents from comparator municipalities that we would be using later in the project to otherwise assess ourselves against those municipalities. In December, we recommended to Council, and you supported us taking on board a consultant to assist us with that exercise, otherwise identifying those services and distinguishing them from the lines of business that the various departments provide. Tim Dobby started his work with us in early January, and we went straight into March, meeting with him several times, all of the staff and stakeholders, in some very intense meetings, actually, drilling down to, as I said, identify what those services are in all the departments. Very intensive and worthwhile exercise. On Friday, I had a conversation with Harry Schlank, the new CAO. He was already familiar with this project, and I wanted to let him know where we were with it. We're on track. As of February, we were well into Phase 1, completing it, having identified those services, and poised to move into Phase 2. The conversation I had with Harry was that it was very encouraging in that he already has some history with Tim Dobby, who is the consultant that's been working with us. They've had a number of projects in the past that they've worked on. So the philosophy that Tim brought to that discussion that he had with staff was already well known by the CAO.
When we chatted about where we were and what the next phase was, we agreed that it would be prudent for the new CAO to come in, start to do his work, get familiar with the services that we provide, get a feel for the culture of the organization, and in preparation for his plans, let's ensure that we dovetail where we are with the service review rather than proceed with that first tranche of services where we would probe and dive in deep and start to do that assessment. It will delay the completion of that larger project only marginally. I think the important piece is that we proceed along that road with the new CAO's full support and endorsement, and him understanding and having had the time to fully embrace what's happening inside the city and what those services look like. So it'll push us into 2017, but really important to have that project done correctly rather than there be some sort of a conflict with respect to what he's seeing, what he's otherwise planning, and where we might otherwise go with that service review. So in that context, I just wanted to provide you with that update as to where we are. Very pleased with the progress that we had made and that we will make once we get into that deeper review. And I'm happy to answer any questions with respect to that, Madam Mayor, but the idea would be to come back to Council, I'm guessing in late June, perhaps the July meeting, and let you know where we are with a revised and updated schedule. Thank you.
Councilor Medeiros.
Through the chair, thank you, Chief or Acting CAO, for the update. My concern around, I guess, what at the time when we put the motion through or when we did the request, the spirit and the intent was for us to look at all the services that we deliver from almost like a line item and see what staff were attached to delivering that service. But also, I think the second part of it was looking at the way the service is being delivered and how efficient are we delivering that service. So I just want to ensure that the spirit and the intent of what we requested, what comes back to us, are those type of recommendations. Not simply, you know, what my concern might be is that we deliver these services, we have this amount of staff, and there's no recommendations in terms of how can we change our business model, how can we deliver the services, I wouldn't say just in an efficient manner, but also in a smarter way, which reflects our sort of our strategic plan, but also looks at the way that we want to deliver businesses for the future. So that's a little bit what I'm hoping that there's no disconnect after. So.
Through you, Madam Mayor, let me allay any concerns that Council may have with respect to what might otherwise be perceived as a narrow scope. It's not a narrow scope at all. In fact, it'll be quite deep, quite probing, and it is our intent to come back to you with not only a list and of the array of services that we provide, but the staff that is attached to it, and what alternatives there might be to that service delivery. So it will be a very involved process, and it's not something we're taking lightly, and the staff is very enthusiastic about getting into it, and we will be bringing back some recommendations to you.
Thank you. And through the chair, I think in terms of the new CAO coming, I think the timing is pretty interesting because if there's any sort of structural organizational change with the service review, I think it's a good merger. It's a real good sort of complementary exercise. Thank you. Councillor
Bowman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And just to follow up, Chief, on what Councillor Medeiros has said, will we be doing benchmarking against other municipalities, looking for any best practices, areas that are really efficient in other municipalities that we may be able to model ours after?
Through you, Madam Mayor, yes, that is part of the scope. And we have a standard list of comparative municipalities, and we look at them very carefully, not only in terms of what those services are, but where they're located inside the organization. And that speaks to some of the work that the new CAO will be looking at, not only for effectiveness purposes with service delivery, but also the efficiency that might be associated with where they are. So there's a lot of work inside each of those areas, but that will be part of the scope with the benchmarking.
Great, thank you.
So I have a motion moved by Councillor Fortini, seconded by Councillor Willens, that the verbal update be received. All those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried. Thank you. The next two reports on municipal significant designations for special location permits were considered as part of the consent motion. The next two planning and infrastructure service reports were considered as part of the consent motion. 8.6, we dealt with this under the announcements. as well as Report 8.7 for Realty Services was considered as part of the consent motion. We're now at item 10. This is committee reports and minutes. We have 5 sets of minutes today. Under council's meetings procedures, the committee chair will introduce their committee minutes or report. The chair will summarize the matters considered at the committee level and present them for council receipt or approval. Councillor Gibson, you chaired the CEO Recruitment Committee, which met several times, many times, since last June. The committee minutes are here for council's receipt only. Councillor Gibson, I now pass the chair to you to present these minutes.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's over. We're done. Thank goodness. I want to thank the members of the committee, Councillor Moore, Councillor Paleski, Councillor Dillon, Councillor Medeiros, and yourself, Madam Mayor. As you said, we had a lot of meetings. It took a long time, but we knew we had to do the right thing for the city of Brampton, and I believe we have. At the end of the day, we hired Mr. Harry Schlang. So you have all the minutes there in front of you. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Mayor, I'll pass them back to you for ratification.
Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Gibson, second by Councillor Moore, that the minutes be received. All those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried. Councillor Gibson, you chaired Community and Public Services Committee, which met on April 20th. The committee minutes and recommendations are here for council approval. I now pass the chair to you to lead council in consideration of the committee minutes and recommendations.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You have the minutes of the Community and Public Services Committee of April 20th in front of you. Briefing on that, in that committee, we had a report from Erica McDonald, Recreation and Culture Public Services, on the 2016 Canada 55+ Games. We also had a request to begin procurement of purchasing bylaw section 4.0 for the supply of delivery of diesel fuel for transit and fleet services. And we also had a motion introduced on the Sheridan College district heating, and staff will be were directed to report back on a discussion with Sheridan College regarding including South Fletcher Sportsplex and Community Center in the discussion for heating project being developed by Sheridan College. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, Madam Mayor, I'll pass them back to you for ratification.
Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Gibson, second by Councillor Willens, that the minutes be received and the recommendations be approved. All those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried. Councillor Bowman, you chaired Economic Development Committee, which met on April 20th. The committee minutes and recommendations are here for council approval. I now pass the chair to you to lead council in the consideration of the committee minutes and recommendations.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Council, you have the minutes of the Economic Development Committee from Wednesday, April 20th in front of you. We did have one addition to the agenda for that meeting, and that was by Mayor Jeffrey regarding the invitation to join the Premier of Ontario on a trade mission to Israel. We had staff presentations by Thomas Plant regarding the 2016 Farmers Market, and during that discussion we discussed expanding the Mount Pleasant Village Farmers Market to a 16-week season with seasonal hours, and we also added on that the staff explore the feasibility of opening farmers markets in Ching Park, so that will be coming back to us. We also had a presentation by Thomas Plant about a year-round farmers market and how that can be achieved, and we had a verbal update from Cassandra Backerdax regarding her pre-mission update on the Health and Sciences trip to Atlanta, Georgia coming up. And that was it for the meeting. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, Madam Mayor, I pass it back to you for ratification.
Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Willens, that the minutes be received and the recommendations be approved. All those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried. Councillor Medeiros, you chaired Corporate Services Committee, which met on April 20th. The committee minutes and recommendations are here for council approval. I now pass the chair to you to lead council in consideration of the committee minutes and recommendations.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. I have someone on the board, Councillor Miles.
Mr. Chairman, in regards to item CS052-2016, which was a motion that I put on the floor in regards to a missing Ward 7 and 8 Twitter account. I believe that motion was lost. I believe that the motion losing is actually contrary to provisions of Council's Code of Conduct, So I would ask for a recorded vote, the motion to be called with a recorded vote on that, please.
Thank you, Councillor Miles. Roberto, legal solicitor,
All you have to do is recall the motion with recorded vote.
is there any considerations on your part, or?
Well, having just heard it, I'm not prepared at this point to offer any guidance or to go in closed to offer legal advice. I'm not sure what the ramifications are with respect to Council's code of conduct and the vote that was taken at committee. But if the councillor wishes a recorded vote on that portion, that would be up to the clerk to advise council as to whether or not that recorded vote can be taken as to just that particular portion of the minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And yeah, there's no problem with calling a recorded vote. I think for the record, I'm not sure whether it's indicated in the minutes. Actually, I haven't really. Perhaps the clerk and acting clerk can clarify whether it was noted in the minutes that the reason why council did not support the motion for an investigation is because, according to staff, it would be a waste. It would be a waste of time and a waste of money because you can't, even if you go back into the servers, it doesn't prove that anybody tinkered with the account or that someone purposely deleted it. So I believe the council, that should go in the records, in the minutes, just in case Councillor Miles decides to lay another complaint against members of council, as she has done before, that I think was very irresponsible. But so it should be in the record that the reason why council did not support is because, according to our technical staff, there was no way of tracing if somebody tinkered with the account. So let that be done on the record, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Oh, sorry, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, Mr. Chairman. I'm sorry. I meant.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, and
yes.
I want to say, Mr. Chairman, that these silly complaints are costing the taxpayers money, and because every time something goes to the Integrity Commissioner for an investigation, there's a bill to be paid, and so I think that members of council should be very they keep that in mind, that every time they take an action of that sort, it's costing the taxpayers money. So these complaints shouldn't be just lodged just that because somebody's not happy with the way council votes. I think that people should be more responsible around this table and stop wasting taxpayers' money. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor Barry Akincio. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to be clear on some of the comments that were made, and that is staff did not indicate last week that it would be a waste of time. There was a discussion around...
No, I said that it was a waste of time, Mr. Chairman, but staff did say they could not trace who...
Councilor Barry, thank you. I just wanted to be clear on that point. Thank you. Okay, thank you. So recorded vote has been called by Councillor Miles. Oh, another speaker, Councillor Bowman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I would like to hear from legal about what the implications are according to the Municipal Act and our Code of Conduct.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Again, having just had this brought on us, this issue, this is something that we would have to take back to look at if there are any Municipal Act implications. But in terms of the code of conduct, the individual who councillors should be contacting if there are concerns about the code of conduct is the city's integrity commissioner. That's the way the city's code of conduct and the process is in place, so that it's the integrity commissioner that can advise council members should any one of you have any concerns regarding the code of conduct.
Okay, so we would have to consult with the integrity commissioner to see if there's any implications to bringing this back and doing a recorded vote on it? Is that what you're saying?
If council has a concern about whether or not there may or may not be a code of conduct issue, the code of conduct process that we have here at the city through the clerk's office is that you would contact as members of council, the integrity commissioner, and that he can then advise you with respect to the code of conduct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Palashi?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't think we had a concern that it had anything to do with the code of conduct until Councillor Miles stated that it does. So therefore, are we now deferring this item, or should we defer this item to talk to the integrity commissioner? Like, I got no problem with it being, for or against the code of conduct. I supported the original motion, and I'll support it again, but that being said, if this was just brought for us now, why do we not have the resources in-house right here and now to determine whether this is a conflict in the code of conduct? I'll leave it as a comment then.
Thank you, Councillor Palashi. Councillor Spilberry?
Mr. Chairman, not to belabor this or to carry on further, but simply then we'll ask for a referral to the next committee meeting, and in the meantime we'll contact the integrity commissioner and get some advice. And I don't believe there's any cost involved in getting advice, but there's certainly a cost if another complaint is laid against members of council and the integrity commissioner is doing an investigation. So let's do a referral to the next committee. And in the meantime, we'll direct the clerk to get in touch with the integrity commissioner to get a ruling whether there's any contact problem.
So referral has been requested.
Could I comment, Mr. Chair?
Yep.
You do not have a motion on the floor right now with regard to that motion that was lost at the committee meeting. So Mr. Medeiros, as chair of that meeting, is presenting the motions that were carried at that meeting. So if that motion is to be resurrected, if you will, I would suggest that we need a member to move that. I like the idea of a referral to get some more information to answer your question. But the motion, there is no motion right now with regard to...
I put the motion on the floor.
It was lost at the committee meeting, though, you see. So it has no status right now.
It's part
Mr.
of the
Medeiros,
minutes.
I'm sorry?
It's part of the minutes. I'm allowed to pull a motion out of the minutes and have a revote.
But the chair of the meeting is recommending that council approve all of the motions that are being recommended by the committee. That one was lost. It was not recommended. So it is not on the floor right now. All of the other recommendations that were approved by committee are. So if the motion to approve the recommendations from that committee meeting pass, that motion has no status because it was lost at the committee meeting, and council has taken no action with it.
Do I have the floor?
Thank you for the clarification.
So we already dealt with the
floor.
Council, yes.
Maybe I can add. So I did hear a suggestion to refer the matter. So that would make some sense from council's viewpoint to refer the lost motion to staff or to the next committee meeting for more discussion. But as I say, at this point, that lost motion has no status in front of council right now, unless a council takes some action.
Councillor Miles?
I'm sorry, Mr. Acting Clerk, but the actions and recommendations in the minutes are not, they have no status until they're ratified by council. So I have asked for the motion to be pulled out and for a vote to be taken on that particular section of the minutes. I have never known, in all the years I've been on this council, that a motion that was debated in committee could not be pulled out at council and re-voted on.
Yes.
So,
Okay, that is satisfactory. That is the kind of action that I was looking for. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but that is some action from council to be considered.
That's
If
what I
there's
asked
no
for.
motion brought on the floor, then the minutes would pass without that motion that was lost.
well, okay, so that's what I asked for, that this particular motion be pulled out and that a recorded vote be taken on the motion.
Excuse me, just a clarification, clerk, would we have to reopen it?
No.
Would we have to vote?
No, because it's being presented today for council consideration.
Okay.
That's part of the entire minutes.
And if I could add too, in regards to, every member of council is required under the Code of Conduct to be aware of what the Code of Conduct is and the different
Councillor Miles,
sections of the code.
Councillor Miles, as the chair,
I have the floor.
I respect your legal interpretation, but you're not the integrity commissioner. I need to go to the integrity commissioner. I can't, listen, with all due respect, your job is not the integrity commissioner. So your interpretation of what the code of conduct is or not, you can't be interpreting this to us.
Not the role of the chair.
Excuse me, Councillor Miles, I give you your floor. I give you the opportunity to raise it. But I do not give you the opportunity to interpret a code of conduct, which I myself, I do not know the intricacies of it. I need to go to the integrity commissioner to really understand what we're talking about.
Put the motion on the floor.
So you have a motion on the floor, and that's fair.
And I want a recorded vote, please.
And it's referral. A referral has been asked.
Councillor Moore?
Thank you. I'm assuming I can speak to the minutes and the referral.
Yes.
As I understand it, Councillor Miles went to staff and asked that they conduct an investigation on a missing Twitter account. Staff determined that it would take too much time and resources, or it would take a lot of time and resources to do that investigation, and suggested to Councillor Miles that if they were to do that, that it would require direction from from council. So the matter was put before committee, and the conversation took place where staff reiterated that it would take significant time and resources, and that at the end it may not produce any definitive or decisive results, and a motion was put forward by Councillor Miles to proceed with the investigation in any event. I have two questions. Was it within staff's prerogative to deny the request of Councillor Miles to do the investigation and to subsequently make the decision that it would require council direction to do so? Is that something that staff had the right to do?
Staff didn't do that.
Excuse me, please. Let staff answer, please.
Through you, Mr. Chairman. I'm trying to find the best way to answer this question because I'm not entirely clear which staff were consulted in all those questions. We remain true to our original position from last week, at which it was discussed at committee, and that is that were that work to be undertaken, it would take a lot of resources to look at it.
I wasn't trying to set anybody up with the question. It's my understanding that no single member of council can ask or direct staff to do anything, and that you were well within your rights to come before council or committee and ask for direction. I'm not sure whether you get that through the procedural bylaw or the municipal act. But, so my next question is, did council have the right to deny the request of Councillor Miles? And maybe, Councillor Miles, you can be more specific about what aspect of the code of conduct you're referring to. So I believe that we were within our rights to direct or not direct staff to put significant time and resources into a project or an investigation. So I'm looking for, you've stated, Councillor Miles, that it's a breach, or so you're suggesting that it was a breach of the code of conduct. Can you be more specific and read from the code of conduct, which I assume you have sitting in front of you, specifically what part of the code says we passed a motion that was illegal or that we did not have the right to pass last week? You're not going to read it.
Mr. Chair, if I might, we're straying into other areas. We're going back and talking about the situation again.
So right now we have a motion, we have a referral.
Yes. The motion to vote on it first was put forward first. The motion to refer does not take precedence.
Well, I just want to make a comment that this is not the first time that council, maybe the first time for this council, but certainly not previous councils, where we have denied the request of a councillor for staff to undertake a major project. It's a way for us to, we approve a budget that has resources going to do certain projects and to undertake business plans over the course of the year. If a member of council puts something on the floor that's going to redirect some of those resources, it's a council decision. From my perspective, I don't see anything illegal about the motion that we passed last week.
Thank you, Councillor Moore. Councillor Gibson?
I guess my question will be to the clerk, and too bad that the clerk isn't here. He's on vacation. He deserves that vacation once in a while. But he told us at he had some information at the committee meeting that made me think that he was already looking into this. So maybe Councillor Miles could help us on that. He told us that the account was changed. Look, it's just so silly to me. A Twitter and a Facebook account that is set up by our staff, set up by the corporation, is a corporate account. Period. Any one of us had our corporate account gone, we would demand to know why. Any one of us around this table. Councillor Miles shouldn't have even had to bring it here. I don't know why she did. Because staff should have been looking into that to determine what happened. We know from previous council members here that outside sources hacked into the city years ago. We know that's happened before. It might be happening again. I don't know. But we should have our staff looking to find out what this happened. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't want it to happen to mine. And if wards 1 and 5 come down, I'm going to demand the same thing. And I think every one of us here would do that. We want to know how it happened and why it happened. It's not just as simple as saying, well, let's just start over again. So I don't know what the issue was. I stayed quiet at committee and just voted for it. I don't think we needed to give staff direction. Staff should have been doing it in the first place. But we were given direction for it. So.
Thank you, Councillor Gibson. Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you, Councillor Gibson, through the chair. I think you're absolutely right. It's comical that we keep we keep saying Twitter, or it's a Facebook page or something like that. But it's exactly that. It's a corporate account, and it's the background of all of that. The information that comes through, your reach to your constituents through that account, all of those people that follow, that takes time to build, and the fact that it's a corporate account. And this could happen here. It's, unfortunately, in the press, it'll be a Twitter account, and it'll be comical that we're wasting resources. Speaking of resources, I never heard staff say it's going to take a lot of time. I heard them say it's going to take time. I never heard them say it's going to take a lot of resources. I did hear that it's going to take resources, just like anything else in the city of Brampton. It's going to take time and resources. How much? We don't know. How many? We don't know. Do I think it's going to be huge? I don't think so. But that's for staff to let us know how many and how much. With that being said, it's a corporate account. That's how it has to be looked at. So I agree with Councillor Gibson 100%, and I will support the motion once again.
Thank you, Councillor Pelletier. Any further comments? No. So a recorded vote has been requested. Oh, sorry. Oh, does it?
We have the first motion on is the motion. Motion to refer does not take precedent. Motion to defer does.
So I think
understanding is both are the same status. Can you read it from the rule book?
So just defer.
Motion to refer may be debated, shall include, may be sent or directed to a committee, and then the motion to defer shall be put to vote immediately without prior debate. So it's defer.
No, we're referring, not deferring.
That's right, and so the motion...
So where does it say in the rule book that
Because
you must take the motion
I'd like the chair to rule, but my understanding was the motion from Councillor Miles to revote on the lost motion from Corporate Services Committee was put on the floor first.
Well, that's fine, but for the rules. I'm asking, through the chair, I'm asking where the rules say that the referral or a deferral take precedence over, when you ask for a referral, you don't vote on the motion. That's my understanding. Yeah, that's a difference. One is debatable, one is not. But you check the rule book. To my understanding is that.
Terry, do you agree? Yeah, the first motion on the floor was from Councillor Miles. The motion to refer does not take precedence.
Well, I think the clerk has I'm asking the clerk to read that to me from the rule book.
I thought I just did.
No, you didn't read it, Mr. Clerk.
The motion to defer shall be put to vote immediately without prior debate.
Right, and the referral?
The referral goes through the explanation of what it is, may be debated, subject to debate, being confined to the merits of the
so where does it say that a motion has to be, the first motion has to be taken, to be voted on? My understanding of the referral, once you put a referral, there's no...
I've read twice from the procedure bylaw, Mr. Chair.
I think the clerks give clear advice, so if you want a referral, then the motion goes first. If you want a deferral, then that takes a different status, and that I would have.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I can ask for a deferral, but we debated already, so I can ask for a deferral. So then it takes precedence. Okay, so we ask for deferral.
Councillor Moore?
You vote on the referral motion first. If the referral motion fails, then the main motion goes back on the floor. And to that point, we used to have a one-page Reader's Digest or Cole's Note version of the procedural bylaw. It was laminated, it used to be all in our desks. It just had sort of the common motions, referral, deferral, what needed a seconder, what needed two-thirds. I'm going to suggest the clerk undertake to have another one of those prepared to put here, but through you to the clerk. There's a motion of, it would look something like that. If a motion's put on the floor and somebody moves a motion of referral, you vote on the referral. If it fails, then the main motion's back on the floor.
Thank you. We'll just wait for solicitor and the clerk.
Yeah, and we're referring the motion to the next committee meeting. So how can you vote if that's for the deferral? What he's trying to refer, that's the problem. If he's referring the motion, right.
The city solicitor has given me some information. The motion to refer is debatable, but only the referral, so not the matter being discussed. So if council would like to debate the referral, then go ahead. Is that right?
Just clarification, sorry, Mr. Clerk. We can vote on the referral, but not debate the referral.
You can debate the referral, but not the matter. So whether or not you're going to refer it.
That's fine.
But not the actual matter.
And do we need, is it straight vote or is it two-thirds?
It's a straight vote.
Straight vote. Okay, so we have a referral on the table then first, put forth by Councillor Spoveri. All in favor? Oh. Councillor Spoveri?
The next committee meeting, in the meantime, the clerk's going to get in touch with the Integrity Commissioner and find out whether there's any breach of code of conduct in us.
So you're referring the motion by Councillor Miles?
Right.
Is that clear, City Clerk?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And
Pardon?
The lawyer wants to say something?
Through you, Madam Chair, or Madam Mayor, no, I don't necessarily want to add anything to this discussion, but I think the clerk was correct in that the referral motion can be debated, not the matter. And if the referral is defeated, then the matter can be debated.
Okay, thank you very much for the clarification. So this has been another learning, and I do tell my other colleagues who are chairs of other committees, if they're looking to change, I'm always available. But I thank you. So we have a motion on the floor, referral on the floor by Councillor Spoveri. All in favor?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Opposed?
1, 2, 3, 4. That motion is carried.
Carried. Thank you very much. Any further comments on the minutes? No. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Mayor.
Motion moved by Councillor Madero, seconded by Councillor Bowman, that the minutes of the Corporate Services Committee meeting be received and the recommendations as amended, Mr. Clerk?
Yes.
Be approved. All those in favor? All those opposed? That's carried. The minutes for last Monday's Planning Infrastructure Services Committee were distributed at the beginning of today's meeting. Councillor Moore, you chaired this meeting on April 25th. The committee minutes and recommendations are here for council approval. I now pass the chair to you to lead council in the consideration of the committee minutes.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and I want to thank staff for getting these prepared so quickly from Monday's meeting. We had no statutory public meetings on Monday, but we did have 2 delegations. Both were referred back to staff. One was looking for a special exemption to the dog bylaw, and the other was looking for an amendment to the feral cat bylaw in the city of Brampton. We had 7 reports under planning. One was looking for an amendment to the sign bylaw. There were 2 recommendations or 2 applications for permits to demolish residential properties in the city of Brampton. There was the re-engagement strategy from the Heritage Heights. It was an update report from staff, and again an update and recommendation report on the facade and building improvement program. We had 1 report under engineering and construction, which was a request to the Ontario Ministry of Education regarding cycling education. We had 2 reports under public works. One was an updated bylaw to govern the operation of Brampton cemeteries and other cemeteries operated in the city of Brampton, and a request to begin procurement on the connection and repair of utility-owned infrastructure in the city. We received 4 minutes from subcommittees, one from Brampton School Traffic Safety, the Brampton Heritage Board, and the Environmental Advisory Committee. And added to the agenda was a motion from Councillor Medeiros. It was the Hurontario Main Gateway Hub development opportunities that was asking staff to report back as part of the HM Corridor Secondary Plan on the potential for redevelopment of the Steeles Hurontario Gateway Hub and surrounding area for specifically looking at the potential for higher density residential and employment uses in that area. And we had 1 piece of correspondence from the region of Peel on a new approach to planning, servicing, and financing growth. Councillor Willens, you're on the board.
Just quickly, I wanted to, under the Environmental and Advisory Committee, I want to thank staff for getting the Heart Lake Road opened up quicker than scheduled. So thanks to all your staff. It was excellent.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions, Madam Mayor, I'll turn the minutes back to you for ratification.
Thank you. I have a motion moved by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Spolieri, that the minutes of the Planning Infrastructure Services Committee meeting of April 25th be received and the recommendations be approved. All those in favor? That's carried. Council, tomorrow is the Region of Peel Council meeting. Michelle McCollum and Victoria Mountain from the CAO's office provided all members with a briefing note on this meeting. They are here today in case members have questions or comments, but I know Victoria is going to give us a short briefing. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council. We'll get right to it. The first item on the agenda is the hearing of a complaint from the Marin Houston Land Corporation contesting change of use development charges levied on a mixed-use, non-residential property on McLaughlin Road in Brampton. Regional staff is recommending that Marin receive a refund for a portion of the property with a previous commercial use and that Regional Council dismiss the complaint as it pertains to the rest of the property. This recommendation is in line with Brampton City Council's March 9, 2016 decision regarding city development charges levied on the same property, and as such, approval is recommended. There are 5 major items related to enterprise programs and services, and the first is an update report on the region's financial condition and management actions being implemented under its long-term financial planning strategy. The region remains financially healthy. However, there are some recommendations to assist in mitigating any longer-term risks, and receipt is recommended. Now, the second item is a report regarding the possible amalgamation of police and joint fire communication centers in Peel, which recommends that a 911 steering committee be formed to oversee a review on the viability of amalgamation. And it's proposed that the committee be comprised of 4 regional councillors, 2 from Mississauga, 1 from Brampton, and 1 from Caledon. Now, City staff supports the formation of a 911 steering committee. However, the proposed representation on the committee does not reflect the relative impacts an amalgamation would have to each of these municipalities. The Joint Communications Center, which serves all 3 municipalities at the region of Peel, is operated by 18 Mississauga employees, 17 Brampton employees, and no Caledon employees. The financial contributions to the center are approximately 54% from Mississauga, 40% from Brampton, and 5% from Caledon. So as such, City staff suggests that Brampton Regional Councillors may wish to request greater representation on this committee. The third item under this category is a report recommending that Region of Peel 211 information and referral service delivery be transitioned to existing provider 211 Central Find Help Information Services for cost effectiveness, and approval of this is recommended. There is also an information report on the 311 Joint Multi-Channel Review conducted in 2015 that involves staff from the region and 3 area municipalities. The review identified a number of opportunities for the City of Brampton that align with its customer service strategy priorities as well as the region's areas of focus. A City staff report will be brought to the Community and Public Services Committee in May 2016. Receipt of this report is recommended. The last enterprise-related item is a summary report of the region's client satisfaction research conducted in the summer of 2015, which found that the region's overall client satisfaction index remains consistently strong. City staff supports the region's continued emphasis on transparency and engaging citizens and notes that the need for continued service improvements, better roads, and greater accessibility to services is in keeping with the City of Brampton's engagement findings, and as such, receipt is recommended. There are 6 items related to public works. There are 2 reports pertaining to roadwork in Caledon and 1 report seeking council authorization to hold a public meeting related to an application from a Mississauga grocery store seeking an exemption to the Retail Business Holidays Act. There is a report summarizing key findings from the Ontario Ministry of Transportation's 2014 travel time study, as well as information on the utilization and impact of high occupancy vehicle lanes. This data helps validate the region and area's municipal transportation forecast models, and receipt is recommended. There is a report on the joint MTO Peel Commercial Vehicle Survey and how it affects goods movements and strategic goods movements planning by the region of Peel, which is a term of council priority. City of Brampton staff continues to work with region staff on the collection of data to support regional goods movement initiatives and to inform the region's long-range transportation plan and the city's transportation master plan. Receipt of this is recommended. And the last item related to public works is a letter from the City of Brampton providing a copy of our resolution supporting the region's resolution with respect to the GTA West Corridor environmental assessment. And finally, under items related to health, there are 2 reports for approval. The first contains a proposed bylaw prohibiting water pipe smoking in enclosed public places, workspaces, and outdoor spaces in Peel, and the second recommends a contract award for the supply and installation of a power cot and loading solution for Peel Paramedic Services. So that concludes the overview of the agenda, and if you have any questions about anything we've provided, we'd be happy to answer them now for you.
Councillor Medeiros.
Through you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Victoria. You guys, staff did a real thorough, good job. I wouldn't mind bringing up Mr. Clark to comment on the representation of councillors on that communication center, just to hear some, I assume he would have commented, and so just if you can just provide some comments regarding that, regarding representation.
Okay, through you, Madam Mayor. As Victoria mentioned, we have 17 Brampton employees, 18 Mississauga employees. There are no Caledon employees. We provide the service for all 3 municipalities. And again, as she mentioned, in terms of the financial contribution, it's 54.3% for Mississauga, 40.5% for Brampton, and 5.2% for Caledon. So it's my impression, in terms of the potential consequences we're speaking to, in terms of the Joint Fire Communications Center, that Brampton ought to have more representation.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
Councillor Pleshy.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. Madam Mayor, I agree with us having more representation, and thank you for coming forward and putting in your comments to say, you know, no is no, and this is what's right. I agree 100%. I'd be happy to sit on the committee if the regional government allows it. But that being said, going forward into the committee, I don't see a tremendous efficiency in the joint venture. I can be proven wrong once in the committee to dig down and look at things, but I don't see it working out in the long run. I don't see efficiencies or anything like that coming forward. But that being said, I'll be happy to sit on the committee, and I'll be happy to speak at regional governments to make sure that we get more reps on the committee as well. Thanks.
Before I go to the next speaker, Chief Clark, what value do you see us sitting on that committee?
To sitting on the committee?
Well, Councillor Pleshy has suggested there may not be efficiencies to be found. What would your opinion be of that?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I agree with Councillor Pleshy. I doubt very much that there will be any efficiencies found in amalgamating with the police and fire. Of the top 10 municipalities or fire communication center in Ontario, none of them are amalgamated with the police. We're the second largest communication center in Ontario, and I don't see the value in doing that. And the other part that's not being taken into account in terms of the first report that went to Regional Council was in terms of the collective agreement that we have, both Brampton and Mississauga have with our associations. For us to undergo that will be years of litigation, and I would suspect we'll fail in that. So this is a process that I don't think is going to be successful.
Councillor Spovieri.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Chief Clark, can you give us a bit of a background? Who's driving this who's driving this whole effort? Was it brought up by Mississauga? Was it brought up by regional staff? How did this come about, having this committee?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I'm not sure who's initiated this. It's not come from staff. I've spoken with representatives from police and fire, and it's not come from our end, so I'm presuming it's just originated from regional council.
So someone on regional council believed that there was some efficiencies to be found, and that's a reason why this is being looked at. So if that's the case, then can you explain to us why it would be beneficial for City of Brampton to have more representation on the committee? Because if there is no efficiency, I doubt very much that the Mississauga the councillors would want to implement this if there is no efficiencies to be found. Right?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I agree, and yet when we're looking at, in terms of the potential impact to staff, we have no impact to any members or staff members in Caledon, we have a potential 17 members who could be affected by it in Brampton, and yet the representation is the same. We have a 40.5% financial implication to Brampton, a 5.2% implication to Caledon, and yet, again, the representation is the same. It seems to me that our representation ought to be more similar to Mississauga's.
Well, and that may be so, but for us to make this case tomorrow at regional council, the Mississauga council say, well, don't worry, Brampton councillors, we got the interest of Mississauga at mind too. So if there's no efficiency, we're not going to be recommending this amalgamation. So I think that both councils have the same in mind to be the most efficient possible.
So, Councillor Spivey, I think we've asked the question, we've got the answer,
Okay.
and we can debate. I'm sure there'll be a debate tomorrow.
Okay.
I have another
Thank you.
speaker, Councillor Medeiros.
Just lastly, through the chair, do you sit on it, Mr. Clark? Do you sit on the committee?
Through you, Madam Mayor, right now I don't. I presume I'll be asked to speak to it.
Okay. So I guess, yes, suggest as Councillor Sparberry, I think we'll raise this tomorrow with our council colleagues, and if Councillor Kaleshi is not available, I'd be certainly happy to fill in as well, just to ensure that our staff there have the representation they need. I just have another item, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Clark.
So can I, before we leave this item, it might be helpful if you were in attendance tomorrow at the regional meeting, in case you weren't.
Absolutely.
All right. We're putting out fires, but I think this is kind of important. Okay. Councillor Medeiros.
Through the chair, and I don't need an answer now, but I was just interested to see the client satisfaction at the region appeal, and do we have anything similar at the City of Brampton as a comparator to see what client satisfaction we have? And I don't need an answer now, but it's something I'd be interested to see, a comparator.
Through you, Madam Mayor, we do have our Senior Manager of Community Engagement here with us today, in case you would like to hear from her on this matter.
Fantastic, thank you. You guys covered all angles.
Good morning, through the chair to Council Medeiros. We do conduct an annual satisfaction, our community service satisfaction survey, which we presented actually to Council about a year ago. We have similar benchmarks, but the region of Peel's focus is a little different. While we do random across the board, they do a lot of targeted areas like health, like water, areas that aren't in a lower municipalities region. So we, as you recall, started last year. It was our benchmark year. Now, I will take this opportunity to say that we didn't conduct one in 2016, partly because for 2015, not only did we do an annual survey, but we did 2 very intense budget engagements. And so we thought that would have been a saturation to have done 4 things within less than 12 months. So we are conducting a youth survey this year, the first ever, but we are going to be back at it again in February to do the annual customer service satisfaction survey. And of course, we will be back to council to report on that, as we always do.
Fantastic. So just from understanding that this survey is a little bit different through the chair, that the understanding of this survey is different because of the certain areas such as water or how targeted, I guess, the satisfaction is. But is there any, I guess in the future, it would be nice to sort of see, because the residents are the same and they access both organizations or both services, and be interested to see what their views are in terms of the service they're receiving from the municipality in comparison to the region, and if there's some disconnect.
Through the chair to the councillor, as Victoria reported, based on what I saw on the agenda for the region appeal, I have not seen the precise methodology, but based on what I've seen, they do tackle various areas of services that we as well tackle, which is roads, for instance, and overall service satisfaction, and those are very consistent from what I read in the report to what we found in our benchmark year last year. But I have spoken with the region of Peel. Their methodology, even though it tends to be a questionnaire, is very, very targeted, and they have, I think, 7 or 8 years worth of analysis, and we've just started doing ours. But overall service satisfaction, we are on the same page, and we are basically in the same area as far as levels go. And we will be monitoring as we move forward, comparing the two where there are comparison opportunities.
So through the chair, you'll be specific in terms of the areas. So
I'm sorry?
You'll be specific in terms of the areas. So like there's a clear number, so you'll come back so we can see a direct comparator in terms of...
Through the chair, yes, where we can compare. We're not comparing apples to oranges,
Sure.
and that is very important to understand.
Yeah.
But there are some common denominators, like overall customer service, like the fact that access to good, reliable roads, whether it's a regional road, whether it's a city road,
Sure.
and to your point, they don't distinguish between that. That is true.
Okay.
That is true. So it's heartening to see that their overall findings, and I'll take roads again, is pretty consistent with ours. So we're in the same ballpark.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. You done?
Yep.
Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate it. And Chief Clark, before I forget, the meeting tomorrow is not in the morning. We are going to a day of mourning all regional council, so we will be not at council chambers till 12:30. So if that, otherwise you'd show up and you'd wonder where all of us were. I have a motion moved by Councillor Gibson, seconded by Councillor Spovieri, that the verbal briefing from the CAO's office to the council meeting of April 27th be received. All those in favor? All those opposed? It's carried. We're now at the public question period. This is when we invite members of the public to come forward to the podium to ask questions about any decision made by council at today's meeting. There's a 15-minute limit for all questions and answers. Are there any questions from the public about a decision made by council at today's meeting? Going once, going twice. Thank you. We are now at the portion of the meeting dealing with the adoption of city bylaws to give effect to council decisions made at this meeting and previous meetings. I have a motion moved by Councillor Dillon, seconded by Councillor Fortini, that the bylaws 68-2016 to 2078-2016 before council at its meeting of April 27th be given the required number of readings taken by the mayor and the city clerk and the corporate seal affixed thereto. All those in favor? All those opposed? It's carried. The next item of business is item 21. This is closed session business. I have a motion moved by Councillor Moore, seconded by Councillor Wellens, that council proceed into closed session to discuss matters pertaining to the following. 21.1, these are minutes of the closed session CAO Recruitment Committee. 21.2, minutes of the closed session City Council of April 13th. 21.3, minutes of the closed session Community and Public Services Committee meeting of April 20th. 21.4, note to file closed session Corporate Services Committee. 21.5, Labor Relations or Employee Negotiations Transit. And 21.6, personnel matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees and identifiable individual. All those in favor? All those opposed? That's carried. This meeting is now recessed in order for council to consider its closed session business in the council committee room. All meetings of council must start and end in public session. After closed session is completed, council will reconvene in public session in the council chambers to complete its business on today's agenda, including reporting on any actions arising from its closed session portion of the meeting, passing a confirming bylaw to confirm the proceedings and decisions of this meeting, and adjourning this meeting. We'll take a 10-minute recess, okay?